What is up, YouTube? This is T.1 coming at you with another video, and today I'm going to talk to you about Tombstone, which might seem random to most of you, but since I've been talking so much about Raiders of the Lost Ark lately, I wanted to talk about the other half of my filmmaking Bible. While Raiders taught me everything a film should be from a story and pacing standpoint, Tombstone really is my gold standard for character in movies. Now, if you don't know, Tombstone is a highly romanticized account of Wyatt Earp's time in the town of Tombstone, Arizona. This film touches upon his arrival in the town, the shootout at the OK Corral, and of course the Earp Vendetta ride. Now I know what some of you are saying, well, if you look at the actual history, they changed that a lot. I don't care, because I think no matter whose story you're telling, the number one focus should be making a good movie out of it, and they did. Talk about the biggest positive, and as I said, this is my gold standard for characterization. I walked away with a good sense of who all these people were, even the ones that didn't get a lot of screen time. That might be because they were based on real people, I don't know, but everyone was given a clear motivation and a reason to be there, which is really hard to do in a cast this big. There's 85 speaking parts. Picking the best performance in Tombstone is a little like picking your least favorite James Cameron Terminator movie. They're all so good. Kurt Russell as Wyatt Earp is fantastic. I think both he and the writer Kevin Jarre did a good job at capturing the larger-than-life element of Wyatt while also making sure he felt human. You get behind his quest. Sam Elliott is great as Virgil, too. I'm starting to think Sam Elliott really is a cowboy that got transported into the future Samurai Jack style. Seriously, he made this part feel so natural. Ditto for the late Bill Paxton as Morgan, who is really great as the little brother character, and whose death scene is one of the emotional high points of the whole movie for me. The best performance in this movie, though, has got to be Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday. This is one of the most badass characters I've ever seen. Now, to be fair, pretty much everybody's a badass in Tombstone, but God, this guy is so fucking cool. Even though all the dialogue in this movie is great, he has all the best lines, at least for me. I love his personality, he has a cool voice, and another thing that makes him so interesting is he's the only one of the main protagonists to not be a lawman. His methods are a little less by the book, and there's also something about characters that have nothing to lose and just don't give a fuck that I've always liked. The villains are awesome too. That first scene in the Mexican village is one of the best villain introductions ever, and the score is fantastic. Powers Booth is just a badass as Curly Bill. Same goes for Michael Biehn. He's almost like the Boba Fett of this movie, and Johnny Ringo is so cool. That scene where he twirls the gun in the bar is one of my favorite villain scenes ever. And Stephen Lang as Ike Clampton was just fucking hilarious. Speaking of that, even though there is a lot of violence and darkness in this movie, there's still quite a bit of humor and levity that I really appreciated. And I think it's hard to do in a script like this. Some may have a problem with the pace of this movie, but I loved it. The first half does have very little action, but I think it did a great job at building the tension between the Earp family and the Coach's Cowboys. And then when it culminates in the OK Corral at the halfway point, that is seriously one of the best action scenes in any movie. The best part of that scene, though, is afterwards when Wyatt is looking over the dead and then the theme starts swelling up. Oh, God, it's so cool. Some may think the conflict is overly simplified, as there is a clear good guy, bad guy line, but I really didn't have a problem with that because they developed the villains so much. We understand these people. We may not agree with them, but you see why they do what they do. I've already brought up the OK Corral scene, but the action in this movie is awesome. As I said, practically everyone is a badass, so when the guns start blazing, it just goes balls to the wall. And the movie really illustrates how wild the West is, and it's pretty entertaining. Story is also great, so this movie has action and narrative working for it, and that's really all you need. It touches on some pretty universal themes, like standing up for what's right and doing what you're meant to do, and I'll never forget the scene when Wyatt gets his peacemaker back. On top of that, it's emotional, and I think that was important for a film like this to do. Like, there's a lot of scenes that just I compare it to, say, Return of the King, where you almost want to stand up and cheer for some of this shit. It's awesome. As I said, it's about standing up for what's right, and to me, that's never going to get old. So, Tombstone is one of the all-time greatest movies for me. I know not everybody thinks so, but it's right up there with Raiders. I fucking love this movie, and I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10 because this is what a 10 out of 10 movie looks like, guys. So check this movie out if you haven't. T.1 signing out.